24-6 is your final. Not their cleanest effort, not spotless in any way, but this is a team that has now come to life a bit more than they were earlier this season. Still in a conversation, but needed this one against what many consider the best team in football, the Lions. Now 6-0 on the road this season, the only undefeated team on the road in football as they clinch back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in franchise history. All right, best record entering Thanksgiving in Lions history. 10-1, never been better. 1934, sort of the bellwether that we've seen in many of these statistical anomalies that they've been this year. They will turn their attention to a Thursday meeting on the short week holiday football with the Bears and the Lions. All right, fellas, we have come to expect 38-plus point victories with this Lions team. This was not that, but still a win nonetheless. This didn't seem like sixth gear to you, did it, Emory? What did you see from the Lions in this one?
This was actually a very good game by Detroit because they got physically tested from the Indianapolis Colts at the point of attack. This was a game that you wanted to see how physical can Detroit be. Can they match the physicality of an opponent? They did so. What I thought was great about this offense was the ball distribution. Everyone got a touch. Everyone got a cookie, as Eric Casillas loves to say with his notes. But when you think about Jared Goff just taking advantage of the underneath zone coverage of the Indianapolis Colts. Colts was doing a lot of guarding air as opposed to guarding man in zone. If no one's around you, just get the guy that's closest to you. Goff was taking what the defense gave him, and we saw the offense just have success. They didn't have the best game offense because of the defense that they went up against in Indianapolis, but this was an efficient game. Culture matters in Detroit, and you saw the culture on display against the very game in the opponent.
Culture is an appropriate word because Emory is the epitome of professionalism, as Joe Musso has a conniption over something I can't wait to hear about in the Bears.
Forgive my jaw, Gabe. We got football happening, folks.
But Emory makes a fantastic point about Dan Campbell, because you remember the introductory press conference about kneecaps, and we all had a good chuckle about that. I remember saying at the time, I don't know if he knows X's and O's, but guys are going to run through walls for him. He knows X's and O's. He knows how to hire the right people. The whole entire organization has bought in. Brad Holmes is the exact right guy to be the general manager. We also laughed at the idea of Jared Goff trading for Matthew Stafford, and somehow the Detroit Lions coming out on top of that. They absolutely came out on top of that. And I'll just say this, and you talked about not the explosive wins that we're accustomed to seeing in recent weeks, Joe. They're just stacking wins. It doesn't have to be pretty. If you win the game, if you score more points than your opponent, that's a W for you, and you move on to next week. I feel much better about this team at 10-1 than I do about the other team with the best record in the AFC and the Kansas City Chiefs right now. A lot can change over the next month and a half. But there's every reason for optimism in Detroit. We saw it last year, and we're seeing it again this year in terms of being replicated in the success on the field. And this time, the defense is actually showing up for Aaron Glenn.
The Lions are going to be there. That we know.